everybody, Stacey here. So excited to have another live interview. Like, I feel like it's been so long, and now we've got lots coming up. So I'm so grateful to all of you for joining us. Today, I have Maria Giorlando on. She's going to come and talk about all of the crazy things she does with pageantry. So stay with us right here on Pageantry Now. Hey everyone. So excited to be here, and I hope that you are too. I have Maria Giorlando that is going to be, she's waiting in the green room. She's going to come on and talk about all of the crazy things that she does in pageantry. I say crazy things because let's face it, this thing called pageantry is pretty nuts. So that you are aware, Pageantry Now is all about positivity in pageantry and being able to highlight the amazing things title holders are doing using a crown and a sash. We want all of you to be part of the conversation, so please join us in chat, ask questions. If you've got questions for Maria, I know she does pageant coaching and she's really successful at it. So maybe there's something you want to know about how she got involved in this, or maybe you want to know a specific question. Ask them in chat. Just make sure you keep them PC, because we do have teenagers that watch, and we want to make sure that they are appropriate conversational pieces. I will put the question up if it is appropriate. If I do not, it's nothing personal. We really appreciate you guys being here. All right, enough talky. Let's see what's going on. Here we go. Hi, how are you, my love?
I'm good. I wanted to do something like fun and exciting. I'm trying to change up the intro when I go on to interviews. So I don't know. I guess that was the new one of the day.
That was good though. Okay, well, tell us who you are and what you do and why you are here.
Yes. So I'm Maria. It's so nice to be here. I got to chat with Stacey. I was thinking about it 12 months ago. So this interview has been a long time coming. But by day, I work as a hospice and palliative care nurse. And by night, I do all things pageants. I am a pageant coach, a competitor, an international title holder, and it's what I love. It's what I do. It's truly at the core of my heart in this very odd place that I live in Windsor, Ontario. So I am a Canadian gal across the border from Michigan, and not a lot of pageantry things you might think would be happening here, but Windsor really does birth a lot of really incredible pageant competitors, and I'm honored to be one of them. And from there, I've been able to connect with women around the world as, like I said, as a coach, as a competitor, as now a commentator, and I'm so excited to get to know all of you. And if you would like to know me better, like Stacey said, ask some questions, because we've got lots of knowledge in this head of mine.
And a very large crown to be able to support all of that knowledge. So there you go.
Oh, yes.
I was so, like, when I don't know, it was a couple of months ago that I realized when you were from Windsor. I grew up outside of Detroit, so Windsor is the Canada was originally the only country I'd ever been to. I've only been to two, besides the United States. But I didn't know growing up that Windsor was not the United States.
No, we're not. We're where all of the 19-year-old states people go to come for their birthdays, right? Because 19's our drinking age. But other than that, no, we are totally Canadian. The border is our river, and it's always beautiful to see. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump to go into another country, which I know not a lot of countries can do.
Exactly. And that was, like, for me, like, I don't know if Bob Lowe is still there, but that was always, for my birthday, I mean, as a little kid, like, I was in Miami by the time I was drinking age. But Babla was this place that we went, and we went on a ferry ride, and we went on the river, and then I didn't know it was another country. So. But anyways, so small world, I mean, that was many years ago. I don't even think that you were born when I left. I left Michigan in 1979. So I would think that you have been very post that.
Just a couple years, not many though.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so all right. So what made you decide to get into pageantry? Because pageantry is a really crazy space where you openly say to somebody, yeah, tell me I'm doing something wrong or right, and then give me a score for it.
Right? Every single day, I'm like, why do I do this? Why am I still here? It's so But so we're going to rewind this back to 2016. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version, but I'd had a change in my life where I realized that I wanted to be living as Maria, like more Maria beyond what any adult ever told me to be, think, or say. And through a few months of personal development and discovery, I found the opening for a local pageant that we had. It was a one-day pageant on Erie Street. There were pretty much two qualifications that you had to have. You had to be within the age range and you had to be Italian. And I thought, well, I fit both of those, so I'm going to join. And I remember going, I think we had one or two rehearsals with a former Miss Universe Canada, Chelsea DeRoche, and I was competing against women who were competing at Miss Universe Canada. A couple of our judges were runner-ups at the Miss Universe Canada pageant because we have a lot of connections in Windsor. And I remember thinking, what on earth am I doing? It was like information and sensory overload in a sense, but I was having a blast. I would go home and I would say to my mom, like, Mom, we get to try on these dresses at this store. Like these girls are so sweet. And that final day of the pageant, I placed in the top 3 and I won Miss Congeniality.
That's awesome.
And like these women who competed at Miss Universe Canada, like they weren't in the top, like I was in the top 3. And I remember thinking there must have been something wrong. Something must have happened with the scoring and there must have been like a mistake or something because I've never done this before and I have no idea what I'm doing. And there was no mistake. There was no mistake. And it was the best night of my life. And I remember thinking, I cannot wait to do this again. So that was obviously before the blood, sweat, and tears came along. It was not always that easy, but it was a lot of fun. And it was a great pageant to start off with because it was so low key, low pressure. And it was meant to be a lot of fun in that type of introductory pageant. So that started 5 years ago now. And I'm sure we'll get to the rest.
Well, I was going to say, and it's crazy how in this arena that when you feel that it is a bug, it absolutely is a bug where all of a sudden you feel that moment of acceptance. And I'm sure you did really well because you were being your authentic self. Like that is the one thing that I always say. People ask me, how do I get successful in this? And I'm like, you have to be real. And clearly, if you look at like our new Miss USA, this was her first pageant. She had never done a pageant. Now she's in Miss Universe. Like, how crazy is that for that moment? So being your authentic self, not being afraid or ashamed or having all of those preconceived ideas in your head. So how has, from that moment, how have the other moments in pageantry changed from being like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna go do this, oh wait, hold on a second, to now where you are wearing a fantastic crown, which we need to talk about the system as well and about your title as well. So let's talk about how things have changed since then, and then let's talk about Royal International Miss.
Yes. So I was 21 when I started pageants, and it's a very interesting age because I was at the end of my university career and I was about to enter into the workplace. And there was that piece of me like, who am I when I'm not studying in school? Who am I when I don't have somebody telling me what to do all of the time? And so originally I joined the pageant because I had 3 reasons. One, I wanted to make friends. I didn't really know how to do that outside of school. So that was a way I saw to do that. The second one was I wanted to wear pretty things, which is probably still one of the top reasons.
And then always
reasons, right? See, things have not changed at all, you would say. And then the third reason was that when I would see girls posting online, they would go to these different community events and they would help out. They would go to lunches together. And I could just tell that they were a part of something much bigger than themselves. So that's really what it started on, as a journey to meet women and be able to dress as an adult and really to have a sense of community belonging. And so I didn't win that first pageant, but I went on to win the next pageant 2 months later. And from that to an international level, I've really found this sense of belonging within myself, and I want to bring that to other individuals, which is where my platform comes into play. And it's something that I realized when you speak for something so much bigger than yourself, people hear you in a different way. And when you're connected to that deeper confidence and identity, the judges see something within you that it doesn't matter how tall you are, the color of your skin or hair or anything like that. They hear you for the deeper message that you're looking to share. And that's truly why I continue to compete. And it's why I believe I'm an international title holder, especially this year, just because that message and that purpose has gotten so clear in my mind and in my heart.
That is, I mean, and honestly, that really is where the idea of Pageantry Now came from. Was, I was on the red carpet at Miss Universe, and I realized people don't see the service. They don't see what a title is. They see someone get crowned, and that was the Miss Universe where the oops happened. And so everyone was only talking about the fact that there was a mistake done, and no one was really talking about Pia Warsbach, who is now, at that point, the new Miss Universe. And I felt really badly for her, because the highlight was all of the talk, and not about the fact that this fantastically talented woman was doing amazing things, and raising money, and doing charity work, and working with all of the charities, not just with the Miss Universe organization, but also within, the organizations that she worked with in the Philippines as well. And I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be great if we could have someone come on and tell the story that's the 364 days in between, and and understanding and believing in that heart of service, because I believe that pageantry really is about changing the world using a crown and a sash. And to me, that's why I do it. So let's talk about your platform, and I do want to talk also about what your real job is as well. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about your platform, and why you chose it, or why it chose you.
Of course. And it definitely did choose me. It smacked me in the face and told me to listen up. But I would say I actually didn't have a really clear, solid platform until I won my first national title as Miss Canada 2018. And I was invited to go to a lot of speaking engagements in different conferences and conventions and schools. And they kind of just said, come and speak to us about anything. So I remember thinking, I'm going to put together some type of presentation that is going to encompass the learnings and the lessons that I've really undergone along the way. And so for me, it looked like, at first it started off as grow, but then it became growth. And it was teaching adults, children, teenagers about self-care strategies, really leading you back home to yourself. And so growth is an acronym that stands for gratitude, reflection, optimistic affirmations, wellness, and thoughtfulness. And to me, when I reflected over over the journey that I had that led me to pageants, these were the 5 things that I did that helped me feel the most confident and authentic self, right? It wasn't the crowns and sashes. It was this daily practice that I did. And I wanted to give this back to the community who has essentially supported me along the way. And working with the amazing Kristen Dalton, we revamped this, and now I call it Live Life Alive, which is really the strategies and steps to teaching others how to live with purpose and mindfulness each and every single day. And now, thankfully, I know we're going to talk about RIM a little bit more, but as the international role model, we got to select an international service project. Only one project gets picked every single year, and they picked Year of Growth, which is teaching these strategies and pillars to the delegates across the world and having them not only implement this community service in their community, but also learning to take care of themselves in the process. It's such a beautiful initiative, and it's really what we need in pageantry, because like you said, we see all of the do, but we forget all of the self-care and hard work that goes into maintaining who we are as women in the process too.
That is the magic. That is where we forget. And I think also, I say real life, but like when you are a woman of service, or man of service even, and you also have a job, and then you have a family, and you have so many things, that we forget about who we are and how important it is to do the basic things of self-care. So I think that when you can make sure that you balance, and make sure that you highlight being able to do everything you do for everybody else. And as women, we historically forget ourselves. I think it's important to be able to have that makeup, right? By the way, VIP Pageantry says Maria is a star. They're in the house. And then Teresa, if you send me a direct message on Instagram, I will get back to you. If I don't get back to you, We have 3 other people that handle the account too. They will message you as well. So that is how you get to be on the show, and we will hopefully see you soon. So now because you also work in hospice, which I think is a very difficult job, in watching someone go through transitioning and watching their families. I think it's a bigger job for you as a caretaker to take care of the families as well, and helping them through a family's transition. I am a 3-time cancer survivor. I was given 8 weeks to live 25 years ago. So I understand the dramatic amount of energy that it takes to do what you do, and I greatly appreciate it. And I became one of the hospice caregivers for one of my friends who passed away in 2011, and that was or 2010, and that was really a part of what PageantryNOW came forward with, was that idea of making sure that we highlight these great stories and these humans that are changing, and giving themselves so endlessly. So let's talk about your heart, because I think I'm gonna cry. Okay, you talk. You talk for a minute.
I commend your story. No, I get chills when I hear you speak about it. So thank you for just openly sharing your story as well. It's so important. And I feel like I know I'm the weird one because I love my job. And I'm like, does that make me crazy? Do people think I'm just nuts because I like to work with the death and dying? Maybe. But at the same time, there's this part where I feel so selfish about it because I love it. We have the most grateful and most appreciative families, residents, and staff that I've ever worked with. Like, when people say that you have to sacrifice part of a job that you don't like, I thought that was true until I started working at hospice. And it really is just a beautiful place where we want to provide this oasis of peace and comfort for these people at the end of their life. And for about 3 years, I worked in long-term care, which is similar. Like, you have a little bit of that palliative end of life, but it actually wasn't until May. So right before I went to my international competition that I switched jobs. I went into this job. And again, it gave me that additional sense of this is where you're meant to be. Like, where you were before, that was a learning or a growth process, but come find yourself, come find what you can really do and how you can really be of service. And so each day when I get to work with these residents and this staff and this team, I'm really taught about what life means. And as eerie as this might sound, when we do our end procession, as our loved ones or our residents get taken out, there's this tree. I'm gonna have to take a picture of it because there's this tree right at the entrance, and it's called the Journey of Life, or the Tree of Life. And it's just got these messages saying, life is not a race, it's a journey. It sounds so cheesy when I say it out.
It's true. It's so true, though. It's so true. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
it's just like those cheesy sayings, but it's like, tell people you love them, find what you love and do it on purpose each day. And it's just this message. And every single time I'm reminded, death can happen to any of us at any point in time. And each day we're not choosing to live life with purpose can be a day that is wasted, or a day that we don't get back again, which again just emphasizes my platform, which is to live life alive. And so I get it. I'm probably the weird one that really likes to work with hospice and end of life care, but it's truly a deep level of beautiful work that the people who are able to do it, we do get a lot of joy and fulfillment, because again, it teaches me a deeper layer about who I am and how I can have compassion for those going through these tough times. And interestingly enough, it was the number one thing that the judges asked me in my interview. So I was also happy that I got to share it there as well.
And I think your job is remarkable. And just as your platform chooses you, when you have the blessing of finding something that fills your soul, I am an educator. I choose gymnastics as the way to educate, but I know that is my job, and as well as therapy. And I work with children that are on the spectrum. But the moment that I made those decisions in my life stopped being hard, from the standpoint of I knew that was where I was supposed to be. And I love it. It kept me alive. Like, when I got diagnosed, the doctors were like, you've got to stop working. We've got to work on end of life plan. Let's do. And I went, no, 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 no. I have a bunch of 3 and 4 year olds that need me, and I need to be there for them. So we need to come up with a plan so that I can continue this journey. And I was talking to one of my sister queens last night, and I said, she's a doctor who works in pediatrics, and I said to her, I said, this pandemic has been so hard because I feel like I've lost 2 years of journey. And I'm sure for you, this transition for you within the healthcare setting has been really, really difficult. So how are you finding that ebb and that flow and feeling like you can be a title holder and still be there for the patients? And as you say, with the international organization with RIM and now their charity, finding a way to have good self-care and being able to live that life and live that purpose. Was that, I know that didn't make a lot of sense, but
Oh no, I got it. And I'm like, how do I
that's a lot to unpack, right?
Right. I want to give this answer because this is so important to me. And this is a big piece that I see not only Canadian women, but women around the world who want to compete and do well, but don't. Because when there is a disconnect in your life, others feel it, whether or not you want to own up to it or admit it or not. And I think that there is some irony that the time and the month that I chose to switch jobs, that I chose to leave a job that I knew wasn't serving me, that I knew wasn't a place I wanted to be in long term, it was like a connecting piece that made my life make more sense. And that's when I won my international title. I think that there are a lot of people who are living in a disconnect or misalignment with who they truly are. And when you're able to really, at first, it starts with awareness, being really aware of what's going well in your life and what's not. What is it that you want to work on, and what is it that is going well that you can maintain? And that goes for relationships, your daily routine, your sleep schedule, your work, the people you spend the most time with. And I've really spent the last, you could say 26 years, but really the last 5 or 6 years crafting my life to be this dream and ideal life that I want to wake up to and live each and every single day. So from the hard days when I come home and I tell my boyfriend, like, I need to lie down on this couch and I need pizza, and he buys me pizza because he knows that's what I need. And he knows it was more of a challenging day, but it's really been through the process of self-awareness, self-reflection, and then moving towards a vision that I have for myself that I consider to be my dream life. And I think, again, I could go into the stories about how I see why I didn't win my last 2 international titles. I wasn't being fully honest with who I was. I wasn't showing up in a way that was authentic and held with integrity with the woman that I want to live life as. And again, it was like slowly as I started putting the pieces of who I wanted to be, and I stopped faking it to myself and I didn't fake it to anybody else, others saw me in a more true, honest, and authentic way. Because I don't think that there's any formula or reason why I beat out doctors and lawyers and women who've competed at Miss America and competed at Miss USA state pageants. Like, there's just no reason why I would have beat these other women other than I just had this sense of completeness about who I am. And like I said, I'm sure that there's so many other things, but it starts with self-awareness, honesty about what you love about your life and what you want to improve, and then reflecting, how can you move towards a bigger vision for yourself? Because that's what a title holder needs to have, and a leader. You need to have a bigger vision for your life and for the people around you, and then you move towards that. And it's kind of like you said, sometimes that goal and that vision, it'll pull you towards it when it's in alignment with who you're meant to be.
No, and I agree wholly with that. And that I've been in pageantry for 40 years, and I had competed for 20 years with it being about the jewelry. It was about the jewelry. It was about the fame. It was about the fortune. It was about, and I kept being first runner up, first run. I mean, I win local titles, but the moment that I stepped into, I have a story that I need to share. And this crown allows me to share my heart, that pageantry became something magical. You know, I won my first state title. I won my first national title. I won my first international title. And it opened me up in a way that I didn't recognize that I needed. And it also became therapeutic as well, because I think that when, especially in a job that you have that is so heavy, to be able to share the magic of what you experience and being able to talk about that story, I think helps you push some of that out in the and honors what you do in a very, very different way. And I think that judges feel that. I really honestly believe that judges know it if you are faking it. And you talked many times, and I say authentic, being your authentic self. But let's talk about that, because I know with you as a pageant coach too, it's hard to convey what is authentic. Like, how do you and how do you not want to fall into that? I want to be like blah 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 blah. So I'm going to mimic what blah 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 does. So let's talk about that, because that's a whole nother animal.
Oh, this is so good. And I almost want to go in my drawer and grab something to really show this. Is that okay? Can I do that? We're going to break the fourth wall here,
Yeah, of
people.
course. Who cares?
I have a
This
post.
is your helmet. I want to hear your story.
I have a post coming about this, so follow me on the Pageant Gal, but this is truly how you go to your authentic self. So I have this book here. I'm making a post about this soon. It's called The Big Book of Beautiful and Brilliant Ideas. And this is the key. I get my inspiration from other people, yes, but everything I do comes from in here. I look inward and I listen to what it is that my heart wants me to do and what my calling is telling me to go and do in life, rather than looking outwards and copying what others are doing. I bought a designer dress that a former Miss Universe Canada wore, and that year was the probably worst presentation of myself that I'd ever done. I was so disconnected. And again, that dress was a metaphor for the fact that I wasn't doing what I wanted to be doing. I bought the dress that I saw look good on another girl. I was doing the things that I thought I needed to be doing to win an international title.
Right.
Versus people think that other people have the answers, that you need to listen to other people or look to other people to show you what you need to be doing. And that's incorrect. You need to be looking inwards. And that's why I have this book, because when ideas come to my mind, usually when I'm about to fall asleep or in the shower, those are the best ideas are
Oh my
created.
gosh, I do the shower too.
So the book may have a little bit of stains on it from like just water.
Or at 3:00 in the morning, I'll wake up and I'll go, write that down. We know. Oh my gosh, I didn't think there were other people that thought like I do. That makes me feel so much better, Maria. I love you.
And you know why, Stacey? It's because when you're falling asleep and when you're waking up, and even sometimes in the shower, your brain is going through different brain waves. You're in a different state of mind. It's almost like you're in a hallucinating state where different ideas come up because of the brain waves that are going on. And that's why you have different ideas that come about during sleeping, or right when you wake up, right when you go to sleep, and when you meditate. So that's what I've been doing for years. I don't like doing what everybody else does. I like to stand for myself, and I like to create the things that really come from within, that nobody else can say that they've done, that I can't say this idea was, taken from somebody else. I have my own big book of beautiful ideas, and I write every single one in there. No idea is a bad idea. Some of them I don't decide to act on, but there's so many things that are in there that even if I don't want to do it now, I know a few years from now, I might be in a place or have the resources where I can do those things. So that's where being your authentic self comes from. One, you have to slow down, quiet the mind, and gain self-awareness about what thoughts are you thinking indifferent from what other people are doing, from what other people are wearing, from what other people are saying. And get a pen and paper out and write this out. Because you can't expect other people to tell you who you need to be. You need to slow down, take a really good, honest look at what's going on in your life, what thoughts are coming up, and trust that instinct. And that's what it looks like. It's writing it all down, knowing that no idea, no thought's a bad idea or a bad thought, and then going forward with the innate knowingness that you have. And again, if we want to use the metaphor of the dress, this year was the first year in about 4 or 5 competitions that I wore a colored dress. Before it was like neutrals, whites. But I came home to myself and I said, no, I win and I feel my best when I'm in a solid color, not when I'm wearing sparkle head to toe. And of course, I found this dress because I loved it. And now I'm seeing that dress everywhere. Like
Everywhere.
I truly did not get that because I saw it and I thought it was trendy. I got it because it was bright blue and I knew it looked good on me. And of course, again, the judges see that because
Right.
that's me being authentic to me, not just going with what's trendy and, winners wear white or sparkle head to toe. I went back to what I truly knew was me. And again, no accident that this was the title that I won. And that's my short explanation of how to be authentically you is look inward, don't look at other people.
Right. And I get that. Like that's the other thing. Like my husband always laughs because he'll know if I spend a really long time in the shower, I am processing.
Yeah.
It is where I practice an interview. So if I'm anxious about, and it goes back to actually when I did chemo, we used the shower as biofeedback to keep me from being sick. So when I was in the shower, it relaxed me, it relaxed my negative thoughts. It helped me come back to myself so that if I wasn't feeling well, my doctor was like, "How do you teach gymnastics every day?" I said, "I shower a lot." But it helped kind of and I say it washes away the excess, and it enabled me to be my true self and to have that energy. And it really comes back to biofeedback. There really is an actual. So I love the fact that you talk about that because I think it really is super, super important that because we spend so much time in this industry letting other people's ideas come into you. And I think, I think that having a coach is helpful because it helps you kind of organize ideas. But some people listen to a coach solely and they become the emblem of somebody else instead of being their self. And I always worry about getting lost in that, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not interested in telling my clients what to do. I'm so much more interested in helping them resource their own ideas. And because that's what comes from them. And I always say, I don't know the answers. I don't know what you should or shouldn't be saying. But I know that when you're able to speak, not because of what I think is the best answer, but what is your truest and most authentic answer, that sounds better than any other interview answer that you could have given. So I know that there is sometimes a misconception when it comes to what should or shouldn't be said, and everyone's looking for the secret, right, Stacey? And
there's
it's like
no
there's no
secret
secret,
though.
no
There's no
secret.
secret. You don't know. And the same, and they say this all the time. The same group of judges could pick somebody totally different tomorrow. But if at that moment your voice is the voice that they hear, that it resonates with them in that particular moment, it becomes your crown. But
Mhm.
you don't know if, I mean, we all have hard days. We all, the competition in and of itself is difficult. There's nothing easy about pageantry. There isn't. It is putting yourself out there and going, this is who I am at this moment. So,
Mhm.
and again, how can you as a coach, how as a mentor, be that person that dictates what someone else's journey is? It's their journey and their moment. So I think that it's super important that you validate that it is someone's journey and that you give them that moment to step into their greatness. Your greatness is your greatness. Your crown is your crown. Your moment is your moment. When Kelly Clarkson won American Idol in a moment like this was the pageant song, I still cry when I hear it because it is that moment that's you being honored for whatever you gave out in that particular moment. So
That song was my crowning song. So I
no,
think
it
that's
wasn't. Are you
yeah,
serious?
yeah. So Kelly Clarkson, a moment like this, she's still reigning strong at Royal International and
Goosies.
gets the crowning.
Goosies. But I love it. I mean, I lived in Texas when she won, so in Dallas, where she's from. So every pageant was a moment like this. And for a while, I was like, can we pick something else? But in retrospect, 20 years later, it has as much validity now as it did then because this is that moment. never have it again and step into that light and accept that light. Because sometimes it's hard for people to win and then step into the job.
Mhm.
So let's talk about why you chose RIM and then your job as international role model is. Oh my gosh, I knew I
Yeah.
was going to mess it up. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that job and why you chose to apply for that job.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I was competing for Miss World Canada literally 1 year ago. I believe the competition had just ended around this time. And as it happens, I placed in the top 15 and I won, I believe, the social media award. And again, I felt this idea of, Maria, that wasn't the best that you could have done. Like you were close. I was the most fit that I'd ever been in my life. I had what I would say was the best wardrobe at the time compared to what I'd ever had in my life. And all of these things. And I thought, no, like there was still a disconnect. Like you were close, but you weren't quite there. Like this didn't quite align. It wasn't quite adding up. And I wasn't upset. I was happy, but I was like, okay, what's next? And most people think, Miss Universe is the goal, but I never really felt that for me. And so at the time, one of my clients was competing in the Royal International Miss Canada pageant, and my teen was the teen for RIM as well. And I remember thinking, I wonder if these girls would be upset if I joined the Ms. division, because at that time it's 25 and over, I'm 26, so that's kind of how that happened. And I messaged both of them and they said, we would love for you to compete with us. Yes, we can all go to internationals together. And the reason why is because over the years, I saw women going to RIM, or at the time it was something else, but they were going to Royal International Miss Canada. And I heard words like positive pageantry, body positivity, a platform, all women accepted. And I remember thinking, why aren't more women talking about this? This sounds like a really cool pageant. I saw glitz, glam, scholarships, but they had such low registration numbers. So I thought, well, I'm going to keep it hush hush. I'm going to go for the Canadian title. And then I'm going to show all of these other Canadian women, like, hey, it's okay if you don't fit into the mold of Miss World or Miss Universe Canada. Come over to this other pageant that's offering scholarships and crowns.
Drink the Kool-Aid with us. Come on.
Yeah, I'm like, come kiki with us. Have fun. So again, that was the original why. It wasn't even that I wanted to win or go to internationals. It was I wanted to show Canadian women that you don't have to go where everyone else is going. Again, nobody told me to go to RIM. Nobody was going there, but I said, I'm going to go to this system. I'm going to show everyone how great it is. And then all of these other girls are going to want to go compete because I think I just have that big of a pull, obviously. I don't know, but I figured I was going to try. So I waited until they announced the contestants. I said, hey, everyone, surprise, I'm competing again. And again, small competition for the Canadian women. I think there was 3 women in my division, but we created vision boards. We did confidence building workshops. We did runway workshops. Again, just this heart went into it that I hadn't quite felt in the other Canadian systems that I'd been in. And mind you, I've already been a national title holder. So going back nationally, it's not an easy thing because in your mind, you're like, well, I've been there, I've done that. But
All over again. We've done that. Exactly.
But I was like, I'm going for a different reason. And this is kind of a different scale. And again, my goal is to get internationally. So if I can do that, if I can go to another international pageant, why not? And so I ended up winning the national title. Now that was in February. Internationals is in July. That is about 4 months to prepare.
Right.
So I knew I was going to have to hustle. And let's just say it was only through divine alignment and intervention that everything just kind of happened in place. Because for those of you who do not know, Canada continued to go into lockdown. So my town locked down about a month after I won. So no gyms were open for me to go work out or to practice my runway. Seamstresses weren't open for me to go take my outfits to be altered. Stores weren't open for me to go shop. Like everything that was wrong, like could have
happened.
Could have totally derailed the whole process. COVID was happening. There was no reason why everything should have fell into place. I moved out of my house. I got my new job. My sister's wedding was happening in July. So we had our bridal shower, her bachelorette, and her wedding. Like everything that could have gone crazy and could have derailed me in those 4 months, it could have happened. Like it all happened, but it didn't throw me off. And I was very strategic. So I hired 2 coaches. One was more so to help me with RIM things because I knew I know pageants, but I didn't know RIM very well. So I hired one coach to help me with RIM specific things. Then I hired another coach just to help me practice, because again, I knew my time was going to be limited. So I wanted to be very strategic about the time that I had to prepare.
Right.
And as the time went on, again, there wasn't much time to think about the competition and how difficult it was going to be, because I had to get all of these things together. I was competing in 5 optionals. I was competing in the role model and the divisional title, because both of these are international titles. So
Because
there
we're
was so much
talking
going.
overachieving. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I look back and I'm like, what? I would never recommend anybody to do that. Like, I would have never told myself to go and do that. But I think I was kicking it into high drive, and that's what it was. And I remember about a week before the competition, I stopped thinking about the divisional title and I started feeling a pull towards role model. And in my mind, I remember thinking, is this because I don't think I'm good enough to win the divisional title? Is this because I don't think my walk is strong enough? Like, am I just, doubting myself and that's why? Or is it because, like, I really see myself as the role model? I didn't know, and I didn't put much thought to it, because again, I had 100 other things to be doing. And as the week went on, again, I just constantly kind of said to myself, one thing at a time. Let's just focus on showing up and doing our best at each area of competition. And now that I've been talking for about 5 minutes, I forget the original question, but I think that this
This
kind of
journey
speaks
is
for
your journey. So
my
this is
journey is my journey. It's crazy. I don't recommend anybody else to do this, but I did what I had to do. I was strategic about it, and I was making sure that I was staying true to me, and it led me to the role model title. And I don't think it was an accident. I think everything happens for a reason. Everything happens in good timing, and that's why I'm here. Yes.
And that's the magic of letting, because I think also too that we push certain things on ourselves and we think that that is our journey. X, whatever X is our journey. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And when I started competing again, I really wanted to win, ironically, the title that I have now. But that was 20 years ago. Like, when I broke down and I was sobbing when I won this, it was legitimate, not pageant fake, because I knew this was the moment. That moment I stepped into that I'd worked so hard for was the journey, and what has happened over the last 20 years had to happen to bring me to this moment. And again, in the middle of craziness, in the middle of lockdown, I've been on quarantine since January of 2020 because I had heart surgery in January of 2020. So I was on bed rest. So I've been home this whole time. Well, until a couple of weeks ago, been home. I know for you, in July is when the international when it opened up so that you could travel from Canada because everybody was on lockdown. So to have that moment where everything aligns perfectly is kind of that feeling of like this was supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no sense in, like, I see women like squeezing the goal. I always hear, and not always, but sometimes I'll hear girls say, like, I feel like it's my time, like it's my path. And you can't say that because you don't always know it. Like, there's a difference between saying it and truly knowing it. And like
Right.
sometimes things just click. And I was so aware at the time. I was like, I'm either going to be gutted for all of my money and time, or this is going to turn out as an international title. And it's funny because at the time I had a really big coaching opportunity be presented to me. And something happened with again, so much was happening. And I ended up losing contact with that person. And I remember thinking, okay, if I get back from internationals and there's no title, this other thing is going to work out. I just know it. But if I'm coming home with an international title, I'm not going to strain this other opportunity. I'm going to call it what it is, because clearly this is what it was meant to be. I was meant to be an international title holder. And there's this part where it's called surrendered action, where you have to let it go, because at some point you can't squeeze it so much and then it's going to be yours. You have to release your grip from the universe and your path and just trust that what's meant
Put
to
it
be
out there and let the universe bring it back to you.
Yeah.
That is, and I say that all the time because sometimes you have to surrender your soul and let the universe bring to you the gifts that are supposed to be your gifts. The other thing I often say is the jewelry on your head does not make you a queen. It's the jewelry. It's the magic inside of your heart that makes you a queen. And as long as you stay true to yourself and true to whatever your magic is, everybody's is different. Everybody's space is different. Everybody's place is different. But if you can surrender to that and let that speak for you and let the universe do what it's supposed to do, when I stopped fighting things, magic happened that I didn't expect. Opportunities happened that I didn't expect. When I stopped worrying about, and it's hard for me to get out of my head. Just because of the Asperger's, there's constantly little cogs constantly over examining things. So when I stopped thinking about it and I let it feel, things happen that I don't expect, like this moment. We've been trying to make this happen for a year, and I knew if I won this title, I was going to have to take a really big step back to spend time on the job of being a title holder. And I'm sure now for you, because we won at the same time, like now it's things have aligned, I can start spending time, and I feel badly because I had to keep saying, I can't right now, I can't right now, I can't right now.
I'm like, I know how you feel, sister. I was like, we will get together. Do not worry.
But and I'm grateful that you were, I mean, because there's a whole lot of other stuff that happened in that year, but for both of us. So this moment is this moment, and it's magic. And I love that you are being true to yourself. And I want you to explain a little bit more about like the title specifically, because it is an international title. It is not Royal International Ms. But this, I think, as a role model, you is much more weight bearing. Does that mean than a divisional title? I mean, I could be wrong, but tell me about it.
Yeah, so the international role models definitely have more of the responsibility to put on the service project. So to compete in role model, essentially you want to have a topic or idea that you would promote throughout the year as the international title holder to the women who are hoping to come into this system. And for the international role models, the 7 of us that there are, we all got a chance to present our ideas. And then we were going to select, tweak one, something along those lines that we're all going to pick and run with for the year. And at the time, it was so busy because we were planning New York Fashion Week, going to Miss USA, going on our first Queen's trip. Like so much was happening that we kind of got a late start. And, you know, there's that kind of point of view where you're like, I'm just happy to be here. It's okay if my service project isn't picked. But my whole selling point of this was that I want the women coming into this system from around the world to know that when you go to Royal International Miss, we're not only invested in your pageant experience, but also in your personal development. And I would like to think that that was kind of like the selling tagline of it all, because it's so important to know that you can go anywhere else and you're going to get crowns and sashes and awards and parties, but to come into a system that truly cares about how you carry yourself and how you take care of yourself, that is what was important to me. So now, as our international role models and our divisional queens help out because they are incredible, each month we've broken up growth. So it's called the RIM, Year of Growth. And we're teaching these women, we give them different examples of how to show gratitude in their community and how to show gratitude in their own life. That was our last 2 months. For December, it's Recognize a Need. So you can collect canned goods, collect toys for tots, do coat drives and different things like that. So recognizing the needs in your community. And I just made a story about it today, to recognize the needs in your own life. No, do you need to slow down? Do you need to take more time to rest? Do you need to get up and move your body a little bit more? Because as pageant title holders, we cannot keep just burning ourselves at both ends of the stick. We need to make sure that we are caring for ourselves. It is essential so that we are not burning ourselves out. And I see it time and time again. It's something that not a lot of people talk about. And I just made a post about this on my Instagram today too, because so many women go through pageant burnout and they think that's normal. And I want to offer a different alternative. So we've we've only gotten through G and R of growth, but the international role models were really the ones who are forefronting this idea, getting women involved, participating in our own initiatives along with the year of growth as well. And we get to do our own things, of course, but this is really the main thing that we are all looking to promote over the year. And I can't believe that this thing that I started because people asked me to go and speak to their groups has turned into an international service project, really teaching women this inside out approach to being community leaders and change makers. So that is a glimpse of what we've been doing as the international role model.
But you are a fantastic role model. And I love, I am not a huge advocate of social media, which I think is really ironic because PageantryNOW is all social media. But I don't like it because I think it becomes very distorted. We get this perfect glimpse of what life really isn't. And so I love that you have taken these moments to be, I mean, you're into reels, into TikTok. Like I'm learning, but like it is a process. Again, I am 30 years your senior, but so it is a thing, but I admire what you're doing and how you're taking this space and making it someplace where if somebody follows you or even just comes across your story or your feed that they go, oh, wait, let me take a look at that. So let's talk about this whole social media thing and what you are doing with coaching as well as being a role model, because I think those are really important parts of this.
Yeah, I think I've definitely had to take a step back because I want to balance out the idea of being a coach and being a title holder, because I get a lot of women in my DMs asking me for tips and advice. And as a title holder, my response is different than as a coach. And I want to be mindful that I have clients competing as well. So there's that balance and fine line that I've really been trying to determine just on my own throughout this year. But for me, social media, I think, is going to be something that I really take on for full force after this title because I want to be respectful. But I'm starting to put forward some, I think, different ideas that most people aren't willing to say. And that includes like this idea that women are burning themselves out, that I'm not really seeing the changes in pageantry that some of the big, pageant stars are trying to put
that we need. We need
all of these things. And I think it's only because I've been in this position of having local, national, and an international title that I can say this isn't everything. So I call it, Stacey, I call it the not so sexy work, because everyone wants the sexy stuff. They want me to tell them how to win. They want me to show the crown and sash. They want me to show where to buy the gown. And I'm like, that's the sexy stuff.
It is. Yes. It's important. But again, the jewelry here does not make the queen here. So, okay, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, but I love that. I love that you're making that I feel something bigger coming here. Oh, baby.
The whole idea is that I'm really, and I think Miss USA is trying to do this right now with Pageantry Reimagined. It's like they're giving you the sexy stuff, but behind the scenes, they want to do the not so sexy work and giving these women the personal development, career development, and educational opportunities that they need. Because nobody wants to listen to me when I say slow down and just breathe, and that'll help you win your pageant, right? So it's about finding a really creative and crafty way to get women's attention and to be doing these things. So one way that I just recently did this was I hosted a money challenge, like a really polarizing topic that I find women in pageants are not talking about a lot. And we're not taught how to have a healthy money mindset. And it can cause a lot of internal disruption when you feel like you don't have the financial means to
agree.
Like you're a competitor. I don't know. I guess that's the best way I've seen it and be said. So that was the way that I've been teaching about how to have a better mindset through pageantry. But again, when we take the pageants out of it, it's helping women become independent, literate, financially well off, whatever the words are. Right. So I'm finding ways to connect pageants with real life circumstances so that when we put them together, we have women who don't need crowns, sashes, and titles, but rather we have women who feel really good about themselves, who are competing strongly because they feel good in themselves. They feel beautiful, not because they had all this work done or not because they got the most expensive dress. And that's the world that we start to see a little bit more. So How I make that in a TikTok or a post, I'm still trying to figure it out. But I love using social media as a means to get that message across.
All right, I know you've got 3 minutes. You've set aside a certain amount of
We're
time.
not like constricted to a time. We can keep
Oh, okay.
on fire now. I'm like, let's
Unless you
go.
have another meeting or another
Got
speaker.
one in an hour. We got, as long as I get like a 15-minute break in between, we're golden.
Okay, because I think that these are important things to talk about, and I said to you beforehand, we get to a certain place and we get to that. There's a magic thing where we go, oh, but wait. And I think that this is that moment. By the way, Ralph says, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Great show. Stacy, he also says hello to VIP Pageantry. So we're happy. Ralph, I love you. You're amazing. Thank you. I hope that you have recovered from your 6-day week. So, but I think that this is an important topic to talk about because knowing Crystal Stewart, knowing that USA is clearly going in a different dynamic, and I've said that slowly Miss Universe is as well. Like I really, having spoken to Paula, I know what her vision is, so I see that those changes are happening. I just feel like it's happening really slowly, but I think that also the industry makes it so that it's hard. It's hard to push against it because people all over the world have these very idealistic ideas of what pageantry is about. So, but I think it's important that like with Crystal's idea, one woman's going to take the crown, but what are all of these other women going to get from this moment?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that is extremely valuable. Like again, when I started in pageantry, I didn't know how to have eye contact with someone. I didn't know how to speak to an audience. I am autistic and people don't believe it, but because of pageantry, that enabled me to have these moments that I think are remarkable and speak dramatically about what pageantry can offer for you. So how many voices don't get to be heard because they think that it is only about that one crown or that one moment? And then also fiscal responsibility, I think, is super, super important too, because let's face it, pageantry is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us don't have the money. I mean, I competed for a million years, wearing $20 dresses that I was like, oh, that's the find. And you know what? Did it look exactly like the $10,000, beaded gown that I could have had? I had an experience at New York Fashion Week where I had tried on an outfit that I thought I needed to have. It spoke to me. It was, I hate saying it, I just found a knockoff of it from New York and Company. It was a $1,200 outfit. I got it for $20 on New York and Company a year later. And I went, that is it. That is where, but having that ability to learn to say no to the things that you think you want and finding queenly is a great experience if you're looking for a specific dress, because maybe you can find it instead of for $2,000 for $150. There are so many more consignment opportunities, but like I think that is a bigger conversation that we as contestants, as delegates, as title holders have the responsibility of being able to have. So I think that's glorious.
And I have this unique perspective of, like I said, being coach, but also balancing it with like the sweetness of being a title holder. So I tone down my sassness a little bit, but I'll have girls coming up to me saying, I can't stop comparing myself, or I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I'm pretty. I need to change this or that. And I'm like, okay, well, hey, this is how I recommend to do it. This is how, we would work together again in the pageant coaching setting. And they say, well, no, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to go buy this designer couture dress. And I'm like, but how good is that going to make you feel long term? Maybe you're going to feel beautiful on stage for 30 minutes, but what the judges are going to see is not the couture dress. They're going to see the girl who cannot fully stand erect in her backbone because she doesn't feel good about herself. And I want to see women looking to spend more on themselves, to develop themselves personally, versus their wardrobe just to show up in what might be considered in a more beautiful way. if that makes sense, because I didn't win because I had the best wardrobe, nor did I win because I had the best hair and makeup. A lot of people will tell you that, but it was the soul that I had and the ways that I've invested in me, who I want Maria to be, that I know the judges see. And I want women to be able to see that for themselves. But there's only so much that I can do before it clicks for them on their own.
And I think that is a really that could be a whole nother story. I mean, it could be a whole other. We could do many shows on this because that's. I mean, honestly, a whole series on it because that. And then honestly, when I first started doing Pageantry Now, I look back at the old footage. I mean, in the beginning, I did a show every day for 365 days at 8:00. And in the beginning, I couldn't pay title holders to come on. So I did practice interview and I didn't care who it was. Like it didn't have to be. I mean, there's some horrible videos of me doing makeup demos. I'm like, I'm the queen of 5-minute makeup. I'm like, why do you have to have all of the magic and smoke and mirrors and
all this?
Why is this necessary when at the end of the day, it's who you are. It's not what you are, It's not the dress that you wear. It's not the clothes that you wear. It is not, I mean, yes, it is the walk and the way you carry yourself, but that's a whole different animal too. Like, and your voice speaks volumes for what we need to see the changes to be. And I think that I get it. Like I get it. And I will never forget the first time we had a title holder and I was like, okay. Or the first time I asked the question, I didn't even ask you the question. The first time I asked the question to Pia, do you like frogs? Why or why not? So Maria, do you like frogs? Why or why not?
It's so funny. I do. And I only realized, I didn't realize this, but I noticed this yesterday because my boyfriend and I were watching Natural Discovery and we saw these frogs got eaten by alligators and I was really sad about it. So I guess that means that I really like frogs.
There you go. But like that was one of the silly questions that I used as a prep question because it got girls out of their head about pageants. We are asked an XYZ amount of questions that are expected to be able to hear inside of a pageant interview. And so I didn't want those answers. I wanted the true person. And so I am on the red carpet at Miss USA and I ask Pia Warsbach, Miss Universe, that question. And I got Pia. And she went, no, I don't frogs. And she told a whole story about being a kid in the Philippines. And it was not Queen Pia. It was Pia. And I went, that is the moment we need.
When Pia is Pia, that's what makes her a queen.
Exactly. And I know that those are the moments that we need more of. We need to have those opportunities to get women to not fit into what the pageant expectation is and to show feeling and vibrance and real self. So I agree with your whole being. That's, oh gosh. Okay. So
for sure.
Do you want to do something fun really quick? So that we
yes, always.
Okay. All right. So this or that, and just give me why you choose it. So whatever it is, and then why. And we'll make them easy stuff. So chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla. I thought it would be chocolate, but I think I like vanilla cupcakes better. It's like once you're an adult, like you grow out of certain tastes, and I think I kind of grew out of chocolate, but I love vanilla. And that's that.
And the thing I like about vanilla too is you can always add chocolate to it. So like if you need that moment, vanilla is one of those things you can dress up or dress down depending on how you do.
And chocolate would stain this dress. Vanilla would not.
Exactly. Well, yes, true. Very true. And you look stunning, by the way. So I love the crown. I love the look. I love, beautiful. So do you prefer interview or evening gown?
Interview. I like talking. That's why I could never, as much as I love a podcast, I could never do a podcast because I like to talk and I like to be seen. So interview just works really well. And I always leave the interview room and I'm like, that was such a great conversation. That was amazing.
It's never enough time either. Never enough time. So, all right. And do you prefer to be dressed up or dressed down?
Dressed up, always. It's why I started this. It's what I plan to be doing. And I hope that I'm super dressed up, glamorous on my deathbed as well.
Oh, there you go. And are you a heels kind of girl, or are you a flats kind of girl?
Heels.
Really?
I'm 5'2". I'm 5'2",
Oh,
Stacey.
yeah.
I'm a midget. I am teeny. I need to be taller.
All right. And what if my brain just shut down. Oh, I told you it was going to happen. So, what do you prefer to do if you're not doing pageants or your dream job? Like, what is it that is your magic?
I
Besides,
love I love being in community with women. So whether I'm hosting a workshop, teaching a class, I used to do monthly runway classes and other personal development things like that. I love teaching and being with other women. I would love to be doing it more in person. COVID hasn't really allowed me to do that, but doing something where we can all be together, like girl talk, fun, develop, build on each other's ideas, something along those lines.
that is fantastic. Okay. And what thing have we not spoken about that you would like to be able to share with everybody?
I think the biggest thing that I'd like to share is that whether or not you're in pageants or not, is that when you work on yourself at the core, when you really develop this sense of self-worth that nobody else can take away or give to you, everything else in your life elevates. And other people recognize that in the way that you carry yourself. And that doesn't matter, if you're in your education, in your job, or in a pageant interview. So I strongly encourage you to find ways to find your purpose, come home to your self-worth and who you're meant to be, independent of what anybody tells you to be, because you were so worthy to be here and shine in your own way. And I promise that is a life worth living. And I want everybody to have that gift every single day. It's beautiful to see.
It's magic. It is magic.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. All right. We were talking about Miss USA too. We don't have enough time, but did you have a magical time at Miss USA? Was it like really awesome and fantastic?
Yes, it was amazing. Love the winner. Ella's incredible. I think she's gonna go get Miss Universe, just
I
kind of
do
like
too. I do
Bobo did.
too.
So I'm like, go win it all. I loved it. She's beautiful in person, and it was a blast.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like I went, and that one is ready to walk right on the stage and go, "Hi, I'm sorry, this is my second pageant, but thank you very much. Let's go to New York." So awesome. All right. How do we find you? Because I know you've got a couple of different handles on Instagram and on Facebook, but I want people to be able to reach out to you, get more information on you. So can you share that with us, please?
Yeah, so my personal Instagram handle is Maria Giorlando TN. You can see my name spelled there. My pageant coaching Instagram is the Pageant Gal, or you can follow my pageant title holder account, which is Royal International Role Model Ms. Something along those lines. You'll find me. Find me on one and you'll find me on all the others, I promise.
Awesome. I am so grateful we finally got to be able to do this. I know we've messaged and everything, but I definitely want to be able to touch base with you again. Thank you so much, Ralph, for being here. We'll talk to you soon. Congratulations, Maria. He wishes you continued success on your reign. So thank you so much. Let me wrap up the show. Hold tight. I will keep you in the green room for just a second. Let me finish up, and we will go from there. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. You're a breath of fresh air that we need. So thank you.
Thank you, Stacey.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As always, I could sit and have these great conversations, and I love them because I really do believe that they're not interviews or conversations. We're talking about real life and pageant life and how they all mix together. But without all of you, we're talking to ourselves. So hopefully this was something that you guys all enjoyed. And if you haven't already, please follow us, like us, and subscribe to us. Pageantry Now on all platforms. And we will get to our more interviews. We're hoping to have more. I know we've got a couple more scheduled as well before the end of the year, and then get everything going again now that I've got some speed underneath me. So thank you all for being here. Without you, without the Crownies, we just talked to ourselves. So we appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody. That is a wrap. Stay safe.